Okay, so with my carpet, I try to keep my carpet clean in my apartment. So I take my shoes off when I come in my apartment. And I think, okay, so I had the floor mat for my work shoes, which come into contact with the chicken blood. So I have that separate by the door. And then I think what I was doing was my regular shoes that weren't my work shoes, that did not have any chicken blood on them. I think I put those by my bike possibly, which had floor mats underneath them, so they weren't like next to each other. So I didn't explain all this to the friend that was coming over. Kind of a complicated explanation of things. Uh, so I just wanted to see how it would go. Uh, I was trying. I guess maybe I was trying to not be too picky. So at first, when she first came to my apartment, I didn't say anything about taking her shoes off. But then afterwards, I guess she walked through some mud or something. Afterwards, I had noticed after she had left my apartment, I noticed that there was like a clump of dirt or mud in my bathroom, which I knew was not for me because I wouldn't have done that. So I mentioned it to her later. I said I saw there was a clump of dirt in my bathroom, and I asked her to next time to take her shoes off before coming into my apartment. So maybe that's why this friend woman that I was hanging out with said that she has to walk on eggshells around me. So she said this friend thing isn't working out. So that was when turned into this long text from her, which was initiated by me letting her know that I didn't appreciate her calling me a dork because I feel it's disrespectful. If I'm friends with someone, I don't want them to insult me. It seems like a basic thing, really. I feel like why do I have to explain this? If you want to be friends, why are you insulting me? So some people don't find that insulting. Apparently, calling someone else a dork. I don't enjoy being picked on. That's what it feels like. If you call someone a dork, that's picking on that person. Disrespectful. So she kind of got all defensive and flipped out on me after that. Uh, um, so that might be another moment where someone might say, "Can't you take a joke?" or "Lighten up," or "You're too serious." Like that's what someone might say if if I'm being sensitive and I don't appreciate being called a dork. They might say, "Lighten up." Um, so then there's this other moment. Uh, so that thing I just talked about with this friend, uh, the friend that called me a dork, and who then said, "This friend thing isn't working out." Apparently, she needs to call her friends dorks. That's important to her. The friendship we had was not as important as the right that she felt she had to call her friends a dork. It's more important to her. She needs to have friends that she can insult. Okay, so that happened 2011. That was the year. And so that was 10 years ago. That was a long time ago. Um, and then this other thing happened, which is kind of related to it. Another moment where I'm expressing how I'm sensitive, a sensitive person, and this other person is an insensitive person. Uh, there's there's a couple examples actually. There was this one woman that uh, we were like later she said we were just friends and we were it was kind of a complicated situation. We were friends, but she wasn't a girlfriend tech officially. But I thought we could have called it dating. And when I mentioned how we were dating, she said, "No, we're not dating. We're just friends." But I felt the things that we did together would be considered dating. But she said, "No, we're just friends." But okay. So it was kind of a complicated situation which may or not have been considered dating, but it wasn't technically a relationship. So there was this one moment. So this lasted a couple 2.5 years, close to 3 years. So there's this one moment specifically where she came up to hug me and uh, kiss me, uh, which we were just friends, right? And she came up to hug and kiss me on the lips, and I don't remember. I think maybe I was talking and I didn't kiss her right away. And I think something like that. Like I didn't respond right away to her coming up to kiss me. So I was probably talking, but so I didn't respond right away. And she kind of tapped me in the head. I want to say hit, but it wasn't like a hurtful hit. It was kind of like a hit in the head, like, hey, pay attention. I'm trying to kiss you, kind of thing. But I didn't like it. I didn't like being tapped in the head like that. Uh, it felt like a disrespectful moment. And I said, "Don't hit me in the head." And I was serious. I wasn't like, "Oh, don't hit me in the head." I was like, "Oh, don't hit me in the head. Come on." And then she said, "I didn't hit you. I just tapped you." So then she kind of like walked away after that. Like, oh, she was all hurt because I said I didn't want her to hit me in the head. And I was like, "No, come on." So it was that moment. Um, basically and then so there were a few times where she said she called me, "You're kind of sensitive." And I was even thinking, oh, the way you say it, it's like you're making me sound like a little girl, like, oh, I'm sensitive. But I feel like being sensitive is a nice quality to have. I think being sensitive is better than being insensitive. I think it's good to be in touch with your feelings and to have certain standards of how you want to be respected. That's how I look at it. And I don't like being picked on, kind of thing. So that just goes back to people's experiences, like what they feel is what they're sensitive about. Uh, so I was picked on in the past, and like there was this one moment that's kind of related. It's a little connected to this head tapping thing. There's this moment when I was in sixth grade where the teacher was asking me a question and they were behind me, and I said I didn't know, and then they knocked on my head. This is in sixth grade, and the teacher came up. I didn't have the answer to the question, and they knocked on my head in front of the class. And then I could hear people in the class laughing, and I don't remember if I said anything like "Don't do that" or I just kind of like moved away. But I felt um, like I was being picked on by the fucking teacher. So I said something to my mother about it. I don't know, maybe my mother said something to the teacher or somebody at the school, but yeah, I definitely did not like that. I was like, it felt like you're supposed to have a level of trust with your teacher, and it seems like um, it did not feel like it felt like a line was crossed. Like the teacher shouldn't come up and knock you on the head if you don't know the answer to a question. So there's a little connection there, which might explain why I didn't like being tapped on the head. I don't know, it just felt a little disrespectful. So this person who I was friends with, which was sort of like dating, but not according to her. It was complicated. So this person had called me sensitive a few times. Uh, so that was like 4 years ago, I guess. So then there was this other sort of relationship I had with this other person, this other woman, which was pretty pathetic. Um, this is kind of a long story too. So it was right before this damn virus thing happened. So it was 2020. I messaged her on OkCupid, the online dating thing on OkCupid, which is where I had met the other one, uh, who had tapped me on the head and said I'm sensitive. So both of these women I met through OkCupid, the online dating site. But this one from 2020, uh, I sent them a message. I was kind of like not really. I didn't really have too high of hopes because I saw they weren't from my town, and since I don't have a bike, it doesn't make a lot of sense to pursue anything if the other person isn't local. So they weren't from my town, and I saw they have kids, and I know I don't like kids, but I was just like, well, they're kind of cute, so I just sent them a message saying, "Oh, you're cute." But then it kind of went farther in. It progressed to texting. Uh, I gave her so I gave her my number and we were texting, and it seemed like it was going good at first. Um, Although there were these moments where I would send these long messages, these long text messages to her, and she would either not respond at all or it would be really short responses. So I'm thinking, did she read the message I sent? Um, but it was really frustrating, like getting when I wanted to have this first date with her.